Beyond Synth 382.
You're listening to Beyond Synth Radio. And so am I, because it's awesome.
Coming up, Andy Last interviews the best artists in synthwave. Beyond Synth is next.
Hey there, welcome to the show. This is Beyond Synth, and today I am catching up with Color Theory, and we're also gearing up here at the show for Andy's Playlist Warehouse. I'm still trying to figure out the name. All of December, I'm getting through all the songs I didn't get to during the year for whatever reason, and we're going to be taking calls from the awesome listeners and Beyond Synth supporters. And so this was probably going to be the last interview show. And then we're going to go into just listening to lots of music and talking to lots of cool people. And hopefully that'll bring you lots of listening enjoyment in the month of December. But I know I shouldn't promise anything, because if I say that, then all of a sudden my fucking computer will blow up or whatever. So anyways, look, I just want to say two things. Number one, if you enjoy the show, please consider supporting it on Patreon, or you can go to beyondsynth.com and click on the PayPal button and donate that way, which is cool. And I would like to say that Boris has upgraded his support. So thank you very much, Boris. You're a cool guy. It is sort of a weird upgrade because it's now been converted to New Zealand dollars. And so then I had to do some math in my head. And I'm like, because I get confused when people donate in their own currency. But anyways, the point is, Boris is cool. Thank you so much for supporting the show. I appreciate it. And then Tron Travolta has also upgraded his support. Tron Travolta's a cool guy, and maybe we'll chat with him during the Playlist Warehouse stuff. So thank you both very much for supporting the show and upgrading your support like cool people. Before we get to Color Theory, I was chatting to Power Rob, and he mentioned that he had this new song coming out that he did with Miami Nights, and I thought, well, how about you come on the show and we'll just do a little quick catch up for a few minutes and we can play the song. So that's exactly what we're about to do right now. So let's go chat and have a quick catch up with Power Rob. So, I'm here now. We're going to do a little quick catch-up with Power Rob. He's got this new song that he did with Miami Nights. So let's talk to Rob all about it right now. Hello.
Hey, how you doing, man?
I'm doing okay. How's your life?
Not doing too bad. Just still working on a lot of material, and I was at the Deep End Studios tracking another cover I'm working on. It's Taylor Dane's "Tell It to My Heart." We're close to done.
What studios?
The Deep End Studios. It's in around Baltimore. It's with a guy named Tony Corelli. Really awesome producer. He's the main guy I go with usually these days.
So he's working the knobs while you're singing? Is that what's happening?
Yeah. My main things when it comes to music is I can arrange stuff, track vocals and whatnot, but this guy, in terms of patching, mixing, engineering, he really is just a wizard in all those areas. Guy's awesome. He's got a brand new studio. He just opened up, actually. The old place was great, but this one, he built it himself. I think it's got 11-foot tall ceilings or something like that, but it's definitely pretty impressive stuff. Guy's awesome.
So look, you got a song you guys are putting out in a few days, and it sounds good, so we're going to listen to it, but you want to set it up?
Yeah. Miami Nights and I worked on a Christmas song last year called This Christmas, and we really hit it off, and we wanted to work on a kind of more traditional, kind of smooth synthwave song, and he definitely delivered. It's one of the chillest arrangements arrangements I've worked on. One of the goals was to make the vocals as appropriate as possible, very smooth kind of stuff. You also get to hear him shredding a bit on keys at the end of it. It's a really welcome surprise. Dude really knows how to lay down a solo. It's definitely something that it's probably one of the best night driving songs I've been on. It's a good way to put it.
Yeah, man. Well, how about this? Let's listen to it, and then I'll hang up on you.
Okay.
We can have a few words after the song.
Sure.
The track's called Restless Summer, and it's by Power Rob and Miami Nights 1984.
She says don't leave me, understand. Before we fall apart, restless summer, I'm in love with the loss of you. I'm giving in, don't you wonder how it all falls apart so soon. As the walls come down, days of thunder.
And that was Restless Summer by Power Rob and Miami Nights 1984. And I'm here with Power Rob right now. We're doing a quick little catch up. What else? Has anything gone on in the past year that is exciting to you?
In the last year, my rock band Thrillkiller, we got to tour with the Proto Men, which was a blast. Those guys are wonderful to perform with. We got to open for Steel Panther and Megatronix, my synthwave power metal project. We got to play Tropolis for a second time. It's a giant cyberpunk festival in the Mojave Desert. It is an absolute blast. They build an entire Blade Runner city in the middle of the desert. They have 2 giant platforms that all the acts play on. We got to do that. We have a new song that just came out with Retro Synth Records, Hell or High Water. It's been a busy year, but those are probably some of the highlights, I'd say.
How many side projects do you have?
Right now, we actually just made an announcement for Thrillkiller. That, for a while, was my main project. That was rock mixed with some funk, synth, stuff like that. We're doing our final show. We're hanging it up on January 26th. The members and I will still be working together. The bassist and guitarist are joining me on my live Power Rob band. And Robbie, who is the drummer of Thrillkiller, he's also Dark Rob of Megatronix. So not exactly a complete breakup. We just felt that having Thrillkiller at this point, we were just getting a bit too busy. So right now, after January, it will be Power Rob and Megatronix, but currently technically 3.
This is all very complicated for an old man like me. There's so many things to remember.
Well, that's part of what's happening, I think, with me too, is I think I'm maybe been doing it for a little while now, and 3 of them is just a bit much for me too, so I feel you.
Well, look, man, listen, it's a cool song that you guys made together.
Thank you. Appreciate it, man.
Do you have any cool Christmas plans or New Year's or whatever?
We put out this Christmas on New Retrowave last year, but we actually did not release it officially until just now. So this Christmas is now available on all streaming platforms. It'll be on Miami Nights' page. We kind of did a bit of a trade. I wrote on his Christmas tune, and he then sent me the instrumental for this to put it on my Spotify. I never really liked Christmas songs too much, and so I kind of viewed it as kind of a flex. I figured if I could write a good Christmas song, no matter how much I didn't like Christmas, it would be a decent songwriting achievement. I can name maybe 2 or 3 Christmas songs I like. Some are obvious, George Michael. I'm one of the few that likes the Mariah Carey one, but there are a few out there. I mean, Spinal Tap's Christmas with the Devil is kind of a banger, but for the most part, that's going to be, I guess, sort of the Christmas stuff in terms of music.
I like that Paul McCartney one.
Oh, yeah.
That's... But normally I can't stand it. My wife loves it, so she's just... We're one of those, families that I guess people get mad at because my wife starts the Christmas music at the end of October.
I'm so sorry to hear that.
And gets all excited and starts putting the tree up and stuff like this.
Poor thing.
It's just something I gotta live through because I hate that music a lot. It drives me nuts.
Yeah, you need to check out, if you haven't heard it yet, Christmas with the Devil is it's hilarious, and it's also a really good rock song. If you got the sleigh bells out of there and you didn't make it, so you weren't told it was a Christmas song, it'd be this is just simply a good song. That's kind of, in my opinion, how to make a good Christmas tune. Make a song that happens to be a good tune, slap something about Christmas on the title or something, and you're good to go. When I got asked to do the Christmas one, I just got done doing a Kaiju themed heavy metal opera that was staged in the area. I was playing the anthropomorphic Godzilla character, destroying cities and stuff. And then I was like, you know what would be the next best thing after laying waste to all these innocent people? Writing a Christmas song.
Wait a second. Did you wear a costume?
Sort of one, yeah. Basically, we played the avatars of the Kaiju in it, and then to the side they had these elaborate puppetry with buildings and stuff. I would still destroy things on the main stage as I was interacting with the other Kaiju and stuff. I actually thought I was going to wear the Gojira outfit. I was training and everything using neoprene. I thought I was going to be sweating like crazy in that thing, but it was fun being a 12-year-old on stage and destroying a bunch of cardboard buildings and accidentally hitting members of the crowd with them and stuff. And
wait, so was it just you and you just had a Godzilla hat on or something?
No, basically it was again with the Avatar thing. My guy was dressed up like this over-the-top biker Yu-Gi-Oh villain. And I was perceived as the villain to the other Kaiju. I would just show up, destroy a bunch of buildings, and beat the crap out of Kaiju. I had to have my hair dyed red. Once you see it, it makes sense. But yeah, definitely a lot of me stomping around with big boots and delivering a bunch of cheesy dialogue. And
well, that sounds like fun.
Yeah, it was a blast.
Well, listen, man, it's nice catching up with you, and I hope everything's cool. And I guess we can expect some cool music in the new year. How about that?
You got it, man. I appreciate you having me on.
Yeah, cheers, dude. Have a good one.
You too. Thanks.
All right, and that was my quick little catch up with Power Rob. Hope you enjoyed that. Hope you enjoyed the new track. I think it's pretty cool. And now we're going to go chat with Color Theory. So before we do that, let's listen to a Color Theory track. So I thought we would listen to this one of my favorite tracks from his album Mages. It's called The Next Thing. So let's listen to that. And then when the song is over, we will be catching up with Color Theory. So this is The Next Thing by Color Theory.
Reckless and relentless, will life ever let me rest? Oh, stop and catch my breath. Take some time to wonder why I'm racing to my death. Fully satisfied for 15 minutes. Sunlight on my face, the reaching of a dream. In the bitter taste, the lack of purpose. Something else to do, I cross it off and move on to the next thing. Fully satisfied for 15 minutes. Sunlight on my face, the reaching of a dream. In the bitter taste, the lack of purpose. Something else to do, I cross it off and move on to the next thing.
All right, well, look, we're catching up with Mr. Hazard himself, Color Theory. How's it going?
It is going very well, thank you.
How's life?
I mean, right now it's basically summer. I don't know when this is going to air, but it's not summer. It's summer in Huntington Beach. It's like, I even did the conversion for you. I think it's like 26 Celsius. It's like 76 Fahrenheit here. And then there's a fire, which is making the air basically poisonous. So,
It also warms things up.
well, it feels like it, but I think it's the Santa Ana winds blowing the offshore air that's from inland. That makes things really hot, and just so it's really odd. And I mean, whatever. I did like a bike ride this morning, and then I got home and I couldn't breathe, and I had to do my inhaler. And so hopefully my voice doesn't sound like I've been coughing all morning, because I have.
Do you have an air purifier in your home?
We have central heating, and I've got like a HEPA filter for that. So I guess it kind of hits all the rooms, but who knows how well that really does.
I bought a cheap one off Amazon for like $60 when we had like wildfire air.
Yeah.
I only really turned it on once or twice, so I don't know if it actually did anything, because I sort of got it at the tail end of the bad air, you know what I mean? Like, for some reason, Amazon delivers things really fast, except when everyone wants the same thing from Amazon.
Yes. Yeah.
It was really hot for like a week, and I'm like, you know what? We need a fucking window fan in here because we don't have AC. And
Same, yeah.
I ordered a window fan and then got one of them. Oh, we'll let you know when it's going to be delivered. I'm like, that's not the normal email I get. And they never let me know, and I had to cancel it after like a month, and I still wanted a window fan, so now it's just gonna sit there till next summer.
Yeah, well, I mean, they definitely really work, because I've had days where my allergies are going wild, where I'm just like in the bedroom with the air cleaner on full blast, and I don't know. I don't think it's all in my head. It like really makes a big difference, but you know, with the whole house thing, I don't know. And it's my fault for going out and riding in the smoke, right? I mean, I smelled it right when I got out there, but I'm like, screw it. It didn't look like the horizon wasn't brown like it sometimes is. But you've got like snow up there, right? By the way, my daughter is there right now.
At my house?
Yeah, well, I gave her the address. I mean, I don't know if she stepped out, but yeah. No, she was in Toronto, and then she went to somewhere north of Montreal, and then now she's in Montreal for a Model United Nations conference.
What country is she being?
You know, I didn't ask this time. Oh, wait. No, I do know. This is really weird, because normally, right, you are a country and it's some important policy thing, but she is supposed to be a hockey player. Yeah, it's really random. So it's not a normal United Nations committee. It's really an oddball one, but...
Are those the same sort of things when like kids in law school do mock trials? Like, is that what Model UNs are about?
Yeah, exactly. And my daughter is actually the student teacher now. So she's a senior in high school, and she teaches the freshmen that come in. And so what you do is you are assigned a committee and a country. And so maybe you're, Bangladesh in the Council on Human Trafficking or something. And so you'll need to research specifically what your country's policy is in regard to that. And the example I just gave you, I'm sure there probably is none, and then you go into committee with a whole bunch of other schools and hopefully pass some sort of resolution to resolve these issues, and they give awards to the best delegate.
So do all when they're handing out countries, are all the kids like, please be Sweden, please be Sweden? Like, they just want like an easy country that doesn't have too many problems?
Actually, well, it depends what kind of student you are. Yeah, if you want to just kind of lay low and not do anything, sure. But a lot of times, I mean, you're really pushing to be like the US or Russia or somebody on the Security Council is usually, you are kind of deferred to more by the chairman oftentimes and get to speak more. And then speaking more generally leads to more awards. So, but it depends on your disposition.
Oh, I guess that's a point.
Yeah.
I feel like I would always just want an easy one so I didn't have to say anything. Like, can you imagine you go to Model UN and then they're like handing out what countries, and then you get fucking like Israel or Palestine or something? You just be like, oh shit.
Well, I mean, that's kind of, Palestine's not in there, but yeah.
Yeah, I guess it's just for countries, right?
But yes, getting assigned Israel in a Middle East conflict type of thing, yeah, you're going to get a lot of attention, and it could be a very important role. And normally that would be something you would vie for. Yeah, I mean, I was in this in high school, and that's how both my kids actually were in it, because that's kind of one of the premier programs. I think it's really good I mean, not that I'm good at speaking, because I hole myself up in my studio and don't see other human beings, but for them, like, it's really good to get that exposure to public speaking. And yeah, and some people do hide. I mean, some people do just go to committee and sit there the whole time and not say anything, but I just... what's the point?
Those are my kind of people.
Yeah, but then you get an F and then you drop out. And the thing is, like, when you take Model United Nations, you are taking that in lieu of the other class that you would have. Like, that could be geography or economics. I don't know, whatever. The normal, like, social studies type thing you would take in high school. MUN is like fills that slot.
Right.
And then they also have to teach you the economics or whatever. So in other words, you would not opt for MUN if you could just, take the normal thing and do well and not have to speak.
Right. But you don't have to speak if you get to be the Netherlands or whatever.
Well, that's the funny thing is sometimes Haiti turns out to get, win best delegate and they're like super active on some topic that has nothing to do with them, right? Just because that student. So that's where it gets a little bit unrealistic, I suppose.
It's like a movie where the music swells and some person gives like an impassioned speech, except like the character has nothing to do with the plot. Like, yeah, your beautiful speech, Denmark.
Exactly. No, that sums up the MUN experience pretty well.
You did this when you were in school?
I did in high school, yes. I was not a star, but I wasn't the worst either. So the teacher, Mr. Ace, who has since retired, was the highest paid teacher in the district. And he literally sat in the back, drank coffee, and read the paper while the student teachers taught the class. Like I mentioned, my daughter's doing that now. He did nothing. I mean, he literally did nothing. He just set up the program. And he did not think very highly of me. We had a trip to Georgetown. That was our big 3 or 4 years leading up to that. And my partner for that conference didn't actually show up on one of the days, and we got the gavel, which is the highest award. And then Mr. Ace went straight to my partner and said, "Oh, great job, Robert. You really, knocked this one out of the park, blah, blah, blah." Didn't say anything to me. And of course, I was the one who did everything because the guy wasn't even there.
So this Mr. Ace sounds like a real piece of shit.
Well, I did not do much to distinguish myself, I guess, in class. So I don't know. It was an interesting class. Like we read Hunt for Red October. I think we were duck and covering for nuclear attacks during that time. And so Hunt for Red October was, big deal.
Look at you old man. Old man.
Yes. Dude, I am really, get off my lawn is 10 years away from me now. I don't want to go out. Like, for example, my wife invited me to go to Hollywood tomorrow night because she got tickets to a show at the Amundsen, and it's a one-man show. And I'm like, okay, why do I need to see this in person and drive an hour each way? I mean, how is this better than Netflix? It's one person talking. There are no production values.
Who's the man?
I don't know. I had never heard of him. I guess it's a Jewish comedian. I'm just going by what she told me.
There's a few of those.
Yeah, but I mean, something has to distinguish it from stand-up, right? Because I mean,
does he have a beard?
Oh, that's a great question. I don't know, but somehow it's not a stand-up routine. It's a one-man show. You tell me where the line is there.
It just means there'll be some humor, but then there'll also be poignant moments where he talks about the death of his father and other things like that.
You're probably right. And I could be missing out, but that's me. Like, I'm just so grumpy about it. And every time I drive back from LA in the middle of the night, they decide to close the freeway or they narrow it down to one lane because they figure it's 3 a.m. and who's driving at 3 a.m. But of course people are, and it's an extra hour wait when you're already asleep. It's just, it's too much trouble.
I was just about to say, I'm like, why are you driving home at 3 a.m? But that's just the hypothetical if you actually went to this show.
Oh yeah, I guess it could have just been 11:30. But yes, I'm thinking of the olden days when I would be awake at 3 a.m. Yeah, and we'd go to LA.
Before we get carried away here, this is some pretty fucking...
Yeah, you can cut all that.
in this spirited exchange. Because we're catching up, right? Because you put out a new album.
Yeah, it's been a year. I looked on SoundCloud and saw that it's been a year.
Since we talked last?
Yeah.
Right, because we were talking about anime and fruits baskets, if I recall.
Right, and Matt Matson came on and told you the proper translation of fruits basket in the comments. I remember this, yeah.
Anyway, the point is, you have this album. We'll listen to some tracks from it. It's called Underneath These Dying Stars, and I thought we should listen to the song Crystal. How about that?
That is a great choice.
All right, let's do it, and then we'll keep chatting. This is Crystal by Color Theory.
Inside me won't let itself be known. waiting to be born. Waiting to be born.
And that was Crystal by Color Theory. I'm catching up with Color Theory right now, Mr. Brian Hazard, who is upset that he went outside and inflamed his allergies.
Yes, I am. I'm deeply troubled.
Are you super allergic?
No, I'm not that bad, and I wouldn't even call it allergies. It was just, well, it was asthma, just to add another diagnosis, just from the smoke. It's this Edwards Air Force Base. It's like a really old military base, and they don't know how the fire started, but they're just going to let it burn, and it's going to take a few days, I guess. It's a really, really huge structure. And I guess it's so old and it's all wood, like the firefighters can't go in because it could collapse at any time. And so they're just letting it burn. So we're sucking it in here in Southern California.
Wait, you have asthma?
Yes.
How did you find out you had asthma?
Well, not by seeing a conventional doctor, unfortunately, because my parents never did that. But I would always be sick 2 extra weeks longer than everybody else was, coughing and getting crap out of my lungs. I think it basically went, I got married and then for the first time had health insurance and then went to see a real doctor and got a diagnosis and an inhaler, and that was that. It's like, oh, this worked. And suddenly I could breathe and not cough stuff up. And it's not really a problem. It's kind of mild for me now, but cats destroy me. Seriously, cats and colds, and that's it. Otherwise, I'm fine.
Yeah, okay. Sorry, I was asking because I know someone who's coughing all the time, and they're not a smoker, and it just made me curious about asthma.
Yeah.
And then I realized I don't know much about asthma.
If you want to make an asthma diagnosis without seeing a doctor, I can tell you how to do it. You can buy a peak flow meter. Have you seen these? Like on Amazon, you blow as hard as you can and it tells you the volume that you blew out. So you get a peak flow meter, you blow in it 3 times, it takes the average score, then borrow somebody's inhaler and do 2 puffs of inhaler, wait 20 minutes, do it again. If you do better the second time, that's a hint that maybe the inhaler's working and opening up your bronchioles, and that maybe you do have some sort of restricted airway.
What the hell is in an inhaler?
Albuterol?
Albuterol.
Yeah, I mean, if you open up the little pamphlet, it'll show you the chemical composition, and that's about the best I can do.
Albuterol.
Yeah.
Have we had this conversation before? I feel like...
I don't think so. I think I'm kind of a medical junkie, so I mean, this is definitely something I'm comfortable with, but I'm not sure it's of interest to your listeners. But
nothing is. No, believe me, I've stopped caring what is interesting to my listeners. All right, I'm done with it.
Yeah,
all
I
right?
think this is fresh ground for us.
As far as I'm concerned, this is now fucking beyond buterol. Okay, that's what this show is going to be called.
Well, yeah, it's potent stuff.
Asthma chat all the time, interspersed with the synth pop.
Fair enough. Yeah.
Yeah. No, why did you? You worded it in a funny way when you said why you didn't do that when you were a kid. Are your parents like naturopaths?
Yes. That wouldn't have been the word to describe them. So I grew up in a very, I guess you'd say, alternative medicine mindset in my home. So my parents were Shaklee distributors. You probably haven't heard of Shaklee, but you probably heard of Amway. Does that?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. So Amway has more like cleaning products and stuff than maybe pills. And Shaklee has both, but they were a little more focused on the pills. And so, it's multi-level marketing. And so what they would do is they'd have maybe 30, 40 people over for a meeting at the house. And of course, you're trying to get them to sign on below you to sell products. And then you get a portion of the profits from those products. And people would complain that like the calcium is too chalky and too big. You can't swallow it. And so what they would do is they'd have me come out at like age 7 and take just this monstrous handful of pills and down it in one gulp. And
Sorry,
I would
not
do
funny,
this.
Not funny. Sorry.
Well, I mean, it's kind of funny.
I mean, you're alive, so it's funny.
Well, okay, but more on that later. But so those weren't just random pills to demonstrate, the viability of being able to swallow these things. It was, I would literally take 40 pills 3 times a day. They had me taking everything. And I used to faint. I used to have fainting spells, and my parents told me it was because now we were in Toledo, Ohio, which isn't too far from you. There were like diesel cars and stuff back then that maybe it was just air pollution that I had some reaction to, but I don't think so. I was pretty messed up as a kid, and then as an adult, not taking vitamins, I'm relatively healthy other than the aforementioned asthma. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I think that kind of messed me up.
Did they just want to live in like the future world and just have pills instead of eating food? Or
yes. So essentially yes. No, my dad would always tell the story about how he used to come home every day in front of the TV and drink a liter of Pepsi and eat a big bag of chips. This is the before story, right? And then after Shaklee, he's lost X many pounds and he's so much healthier and blah, blah, blah. But yes, it was all about the pills, and there was a pill for everything. And my uncle was actually an MD, and he did stuff in his clinic that I was a guinea pig for, like iridology, where they would study the iris of your eyes and be able to say, oh, your left kidney is inflamed because they can see some pattern in your eye. I got intravenous vitamin C. When I'd get sick, they would drag me there and I'd just get vitamin C in my vein, which may have a little hint of proof to it, but homeopathic remedies for everything.
Well, at least those can't hurt you.
Yeah, no, that's true. But I definitely have stuff.
Unless drinking water hurts you.
Yeah, right. Yeah, but no, they had a homeopathic specialist, and that was his whole job at the office was...
Wait, hold on here. So both your parents and your uncle?
Yes. That's how we ended up moving to California, actually, is this uncle who was an MD and ran this, what now we would call alternative medicine practice in California. He was just, living the dream out here, and we came to visit, and I guess my parents loved it so much, we bought a house and stayed. And so that was in first grade. So yes, I think through that contact is how we got involved in that kind of world.
My mom was always into like new stuff every year, magical things and potions and such, but she wasn't the dominant force of like what I ate or whatever, because like she didn't live here.
Okay.
So it would just be like, oh, you go visit, and she's like, this month is Reiki treatment, and this month is crystals that you move over, whatever. And this month was blue-green algae or whatever, like just all these phases of nonsense, but it wasn't part of my diet or anything, It's just like, oh, that's what my mom's up to. Okay, cool.
That's good. Yeah, and I mean, you see that stuff in the community, and the aromatherapy and the essential oils, and the thing is, there's always something new. And if you ask the same person, hey, 5 years ago you were big on the essential oils, what happened to that? There's never a good reason why something that cures all your illnesses goes out of style. Like it should still work, right?
That's a good way to put it. Just like, this is the most amazing thing. It's just like, it's just not that cool anymure. Like,
no, it's lost.
Isn't it like a magical thing? Like,
well, and all those things. I mean, you don't even want to hear about that. Yeah, I'll just leave it at, I've had a lot of treatments as a kid.
I guess maybe I always just find it fascinating because my parents were divorced, to like actually just have two parents that like get along and like the same thing enough to go in on some weird multi-level marketing thing.
Yeah.
So in some ways it's nice. It's like, hey, look at, like, they like the same thing. That's cool.
Yeah, that was, I mean, it was a cool business, honestly. They, like, every 2 years they got a new car. It was called a bonus car. If you were a Shaklee coordinator, which is a certain level, you have so many people below you. So, I mean, I guess it allowed them to buy the house and mostly pay for it. But my dad went on then to open 2 computer stores, and that's kind of how I got into computers. But Shaklee was a big part of my youth.
Well, I mean, it's...
You know what's ironic is before this interview, I had a little note like, prepare for interview. And then I looked at the task and I said, no, I just checked the button.
To be fair, I didn't give you anything to prepare for. So
no, of course not. So I just think it's funny. Yeah. I'm
well, listen, it's all very interesting. It's also sort of serious. So it's like, I have lots of questions, but some of them are like, but look, we'll listen to more music and then we'll come back and chat some more.
There we go.
Which one should we listen to? How about If You Want Me To? That one's got like a nice catchy chorus.
Yeah, that's quite happy and bouncy relative to what we've been talking about.
Yeah. Being a childhood guinea pig to some wacky parents.
Yes.
Let's listen to If You Want Me To by Color Theory.
take your place. I adore you. My love is a promise. You've already won the race. If you want me to, I'll place the ocean in your hands. If you want me to, I'll charm the world with your humanity. Whatever makes you happy. When I'm with you, I dream of forever and how we're already there. Time is motion, the drifting of planets, the wind blowing through your hair. If you want me to, I'll place the ocean in your hands. If you want me to, I'll charm the world with your humanity. Whatever makes you happy. If you want me to, I'll melt the desert with your smile. If you want me to, I'll map the stars to your astrology. Whatever makes you happy.
And that was Color Theory with the track If You Want Me To from the album Underneath These Dying Stars. I'm here with Mr. Color Theory himself, Brian Hazard, right now. We're talking about Toledo. We're talking about multi-level marketing.
Of course we are. As planned.
Hey, I got a question.
Yeah.
In this particular album, I noticed something as you started releasing singles, that you were sort of singing with a slightly different voice. Like you were sort of singing in like a little lower register. Was that a conscious thing, or was that from breathing smoky air?
That was a somewhat conscious thing. Like on the track called The Serious One, I sang the lowest that I think I've ever sang, and I'm not sure I'll try that experiment again, but yeah, generally I think my range expanded on the lower end. The other thing that you may or may not have detected on this album, but if you go back to earlier albums, it's a pretty stark contrast, is I've kind of tempered down the vibrato. You know, like a lot of my earlier stuff sounds like a little sophisticated and almost like a Broadway musically kind of sound. And I think that the vibrato can be a turnoff for some people, and I don't feel especially tied to it. I'm not sure it's a natural part of my voice. Like if I just let my voice do what it wants to do, if that is really much of a thing. So I've kind of shied away from that a little bit more. It's a little more straight tone.
Well, I definitely noticed the voice thing. I'll tell you that. I do this every time I talk to you. I like to single you out for some reason. I don't know why.
I'm awaiting a deep analysis of.
Well, because we'll do it when we play the next song.
Okay.
Because you have this tendency, almost singularly you, of like all the music I listen to, like in and around the synthwave scene and stuff. Because I mean, obviously you were making music before the synthwave scene, but
yeah,
you make weird choices, but they grow on me. So there's other people whose music I'll listen to and they do something weird, and I'm like, and I turn it off and I just get rid of the MP3.
Yeah.
And then sometimes there'll be some songs I listen to of yours where you do this weird thing, and at first I'm like, oh, Brian, you know, like up to your old tricks, you know. It's like when I watch David Lynch movies and he just does this weird stuff and it just makes me laugh because it's like, oh, David Lynch, you know. So you'll do a thing and at first I'll be like, what a weird thing, and then I'll just find myself wanting to return to it.
Good.
For some reason it's you. I don't know what it is about. So in particular on this album, we'll listen to it next musical break, is the track Death Machine. You do this weird pitch bendy vocal thing in the chorus, and when I first heard it, I'm like, what the hell is this? And now it's like the song, I've listened to that song a ton. Like that's probably like the song I've listened to the most on the album. It just got stuck in my head in this way, and then I just kept listening to that song, and I don't know why. But at first my initial reaction was, what a weird thing here. But then it became a hook.
Well, good. Yeah. No, I mean, one quote that I keep in mind is the artist's job is to cause a reaction. So if I'm causing a reaction, other than deleting the MP3, I'm going to count that as a win. So cool.
Yeah, I guess that's a good point, right? Because there is a lot of this, especially in the synthwave scene, a lot of stuff. I mean, I talk about this all the time, but, there's a lot of stuff that's very sort of samey and, unremarkable. And so that stuff, I guess, is offensive in a way. And then there's some people who've sent me music with some vocals that are just so atrocious that I do delete the MP3 in, like, anger. Like, I'm, like, mad at my computer. Like, this... I have this thing. I mean, what I've always liked about your music, though, you have these nice, clean vocals, and like the harmonies and stuff just sound good. Like, look, I gotta listen to a lot of stuff, and so I do get sent things, and sometimes the off-key nature of the vocals is shocking.
Yes,
like shocking that someone would think that they could release it.
Yes. No, I'm very familiar as a playlist curator.
Dude, and off-key vocals hurt me.
Yes.
So that feeling, when you're just listening and it's like getting a probe with like an electric shock or something, where I'll just be sitting there and all of a sudden the vocal just hits the wrong thing. I'm just like, ugh. Like it's like that feeling of getting a tooth drilled or something. Like it's shocking. And so I'm glad you don't do that.
No, I try not to do that. Yeah, the word I use when I'm curating, the word that I like to use is disqualifying. You know what I mean? Like something like that it's immediately disqualifying. And I try to be as constructive and nice as I can because I need to say things about it, and to justify my decision. But
I don't justify shit.
No, you just delete the MP3. Yeah,
I don't send people criticisms or anything. Like people send me things and I'll listen to it. And if it's that shockingly bad, sometimes I have to share it with someone, like just privately, like just to confirm. Again, I'm always looking for the positive, right? So like when it comes to this show, like when I hear music, even sometimes if a song doesn't start out great, I still will listen, like several minutes in, like, but maybe the chorus is catchy, or, sometimes a song doesn't even have to be really well produced if it's got like a good melody and maybe some interesting lyrics or a good vocal or something. Like it doesn't have to be perfectly made for it to be like, oh, this is good. I see there's potential. And then there's just some stuff that's just so shocking that if the person asked me like, what'd you think? Like, I just don't even know what I would say. Or just be like, dude, like, what? Do you not hear this? Like, right. It's off. Like, sometimes I'll send it to other people, like people who sing, just to confirm, or I'm just like, okay, like, these vocals are fucking off key, right? I mean, like, what the hell is going on? Yeah, sorry.
No. I know exactly what you mean, and I can usually find something positive to say, whether it's so.
I liked your cover photo.
Right. No. Well, actually, I do go there quite a bit. But no. Sound design or like arrangement choices, or maybe the lyrics maybe there's a thoughtful line that I can single out that I really liked. There's usually something, but what's neat about Submit Hub is that they have an AI thing that will look at all of the critiques that you've gotten for a song, and we'll take the positive things out and assemble this little graphic that has highlight quotes. So like I'll see on the internet, like where I said something really nice about a track, and they're like, they posted it on Instagram, but I rejected the song, but they took the nice part and then stuck it on a JPEG. So,
right.
Yeah. But that's okay. I mean, I want to have a reputation for being supportive wherever I can, and it is a challenge at times, but...
Yeah, for me, it's just, if I play it, it means I signed off on it.
Yeah.
That's my recommendation or whatever. And there was lots of stuff, like it's that magic of music, right? Like when a song comes on, like I just have like this playlist where I just take all the music that gets sent to me, and it's always magical when a song pops on and then maybe it pops on again, and I just like, what is this song? Like I just need to know, like it's just that good. That does happen, which is nice. Yeah. Most of the time it doesn't. And it's just a lot of like, this is fine.
Yeah, I mean, I have definitely discovered some great music from curation, and a lot of times it's not even the song itself. It's that I'll get a track from an artist and they'll say that it sounds like bands X, Y, and Z, and maybe this track didn't kind of execute what they were going for very well, but I like the direction of it, and I've never heard of band Y or whatever.
Yeah.
So I'll look up band Y and then, oh, that's kind of cool. Oh, they have like 400,000 monthly listeners and I've never heard of them. let me send their album to my watch and then write my next run. I'll check it out. So yeah, there's positive things to be had even from a poor listening experience, I'd say.
Look at you, you've been living in the future your whole life.
There you go.
Fucking eating pills for, whatever, and then sending music to your watch.
Yes. That's the way to do it. And that's the only, people say, like my kids, I'm doing homework and listening to music. I'm like, how do you do that? I can't listen to something and do, you know what I mean? It just takes too high a percentage of my brain. And maybe that's my musical training, but I can't do anything else, especially if they're lyrics. But even if it's just instrumental, it's very difficult for me. I need silence.
Well, it has to be like that sort of Zen music. Like there is some music I can listen to if it's just really slow, like synth instrumental stuff, like the meditation kind of music. But if it's too complicated, then I just end up getting into it.
Yeah, not a bad thing.
Because if I have a playlist of music I like, then it just starts inspiring visuals and like music video ideas and stuff. And so it becomes a distraction.
Yeah, no, that sounds like a win-win though. I don't know. I don't have that experience because, even if it were synth ambient or something, I would be focused on like I said, the sound design, I don't know, is that ring modulation? Is that, whatever. I just get off and my mind goes on a tangent and I'm listening to the song. Next thing I know, I'm not doing my work.
No, I get it. Have we talked about this before? But I mean, what do you do? Is music the thing?
It is the thing, but that was that reminded me of Friends, with Chandler. What do you, and he watches the weenus, whatever. I don't know if you remember that. Poor Matthew, R.I.P. Matthew Perry.
Sure.
But yeah, no, music is my thing. So essentially the way I see it, or the way I've historically seen it, is like a triangle, if you will.
I will.
My music is kind of at the top of the triangle, my own creations. Not just because that's what's most important to me, but it kind of feeds into the other work I do. So the other aspect of it, I've been a mastering engineer for a quarter century, and lately that has turned more and more into producing for other artists, all the way from, just mixing a completed track down to somebody sending me a voice memo and some lyric ideas, and my job is to take that now to a finished production. So, and I've been doing more remixing lately too, which is all paid, and that's kind of fun. So there's the production aspect, and then on the other, we're on the lower right of the triangle now, is my promotion blog. Right? So I write about my experiences promoting my music with different services or different strategies. And I do make some referral income from that sometimes. So all those things are kind of money makers, not big money makers, none of them, but they kind of combine to form what some might call a career.
No, I get it. Yeah. All right, that makes sense. It's just funny to talk to somebody over the course of many years and then go is there a key question I've never asked? We probably discussed this. I say today I'm all tired. The audience didn't hear this, but before we recorded, Chester sat on the power cable and I had to reset some stuff. And but look. How about this?
How about it?
Let's listen to some music is what I was about to say. Let's listen to some music and we'll keep chatting. How about we listen to that track I was talking about, Death Machine?
There you go.
Because it's a cool song. It's by Color Theory, and we can talk about it after it plays.
Driver's seat, weaving through the steel parade in our daily procession. Speed is liberty, while my mind is free to drift in and out of aggression. blossoming chaos. Piloting a death machine, peaceful and hypnotizing, laying down to fall asleep. Stressful and worrying, predisposed to ruminate. Flavors of nebulous flame, keep your priorities. Keep your priorities. Keep your priorities.
And that was Death Machine by Color Theory from the album Underneath These Dying Stars. That's what we're catching up talking about. This album, we're talking about vibrato, we're talking about remixing and promotion blogs and music watches.
It's just an Apple Watch, but yes, with music on it.
So anyway, in this song Death Machine, you do this thing in the chorus where it does
I'm trying to think of what it is. I didn't know what you were... Okay, yeah.
Death Machine, na, 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 blah, blah, blah. Like that weird dip thing.
Yes.
And when I first heard it, I just thought it was so weird, and then it just became the hook for me listening to that song.
Yeah, that wasn't a standout decision for me, but it was interesting that it stood out for you. I just wanted to... So I'm a pianist, right, at heart, and...
Penis.
Yes.
Continue.
So when I'm making melodies, a lot of times I'll poke stuff out at the piano, and I really want to try to do some things with my voice that you can't do on the piano. I don't want to get locked into just singing straight pitches, right? And so just that little pitch bend, just remembering to do something a little bit more expressive that a piano can't do, I think that's kind of just what I was aiming for there.
Well, I mean, it worked.
Yeah, I like it. And I got to tell you about this song. Are you familiar with AMVs?
America's Funniest?
No.
That's AFV.
It's an anime music video. So some editor will take an anime and sync it to a song.
Okay, yeah.
And people like are really applauding the editor's skills, right? It's kind of like almost like a rap battle, the way I see it. Like people get like seriously into like, oh my God, such a killer edit. Anyway, this guy, Xenoz, is a really big guy in the AMV scene, and he did Death Machine as just as edit. It's less than a minute, and he did it with Spirited Away. So just a really cool little snippet, and that got like thousands of views and got a ton of people coming over to the original song and like commenting on it. It was really weird. But the weirdest thing is, after he posted that AMV, like a ton of other people used the same song and did their own AMVs. So if you go on YouTube and look for Death Machine AMV, like there's a bunch of them. It's just this cool little culture that I wasn't really a part of, that are just all video editors, and they think it's super cool.
Well, hey man, it's always fun to get a new audience from some place you weren't expecting.
Yeah, totally. And these guys are like super enthusiastic too. It's neat to have somebody come at it, not because of the genre, right? Like they wouldn't be able to name the genre, but they just dig the music and they came about it a totally different way. So yeah, that's very nice. Doesn't happen often.
I mean, I'm always waiting for an audience myself. So like, it's exciting when I, know people that have people coming in, like listening to their stuff. I think that's cool.
Yeah. Yeah. I was waiting for your deeper analysis of Death Machine, but that's the one spot that got you. On that spot, I was going to have a female vocalist do that part so that I would sing, da 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 Death Machine, and then the female would sing the da 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 that you were talking about.
Yeah.
But I got feedback from another producer, and he said, no, don't do that, because all the synth parts you're not even going to hear. Like, don't even bother. And so I didn't. I just did it me, and I think it's fine. But that was an opportunity.
Yeah, I always key in on small moments in songs that I believe are the key to their catchiness. Yeah. I mean, like I don't necessarily have the musical education. It's just a strong feeling, like I'll listen to a famous song and just be like, the whole reason why this song is popular is for this literal 1 second thing. Mm-hmm. I sort of hone in on the thing that I believe is the secret sauce or whatever.
You're probably right. Yeah.
But I wouldn't be able to necessarily apply that skill and like create something that would be like, for me, it's usually the synth thing, which is why I would always resent people who were like against keyboards and stuff, because I would listen to a lot lot of songs, I'm like, yeah, like this is like a fucking rock song, but you know this is catchy because of that synth thing that's in the background, that weird pad. Like I know like there's a song by, is it Foreigner? There's one of their like famous songs, and there's just a synth thing that happens that's like the catchy part of the song. It's like this sound. And to me, it's like, yeah, like, so everyone who listens to it is just like, it's a Foreigner, it's like classic rock. But I'm like, but the reason why this song is catchy is because that synth thing that comes in on the chorus line, and it's not even a big deal synth thing. It's not a melody. It's just a weird sound.
Yeah.
Yeah, like when I listened to this song, it was just that, because that's what made it stand out, this weird pitch bend vocal thing that happens. That's the key, you know?
The only song I can think of is I Want to Know What Love Is, and I don't think that's the song.
You know what? What is it? Let me look.
I was glancing. They got Urgent, Waiting for a Girl
Urgent.
Like You.
Urgent.
Okay.
So urgent, because he goes, so urgent, and in the background there's like a synth that just goes meow after the word urgent.
I'm on Wikipedia, and I think that one stands out to you because it reached #1 in Canada.
Hey, there you go.
Yeah.
You know what though? I didn't hear it until later in life.
Oh, okay.
It was on the radio one day, and it caught my eye because of that synth thing. Caught my eye.
Caught your ear. Yeah.
Fucking idiot. Yeah, caught my eye. Caught my eye. No, because my wife always listened to the radio, and I hate a lot of the music on there, so it's just usually really frustrating.
Yeah.
And then a song will come on every once in a while. I'm like, hey, the radio's actually playing a song I've never heard before. And Urgent does this thing was like, so urgent, meow, in the background. And it makes me happy.
Yeah.
What album?
Yeah, well, you know, I did cover Ghost again within 8 hours of it going live.
It's the best song on the album.
It's sad but true, yeah. I mean, that was a fun experiment that I don't think I'd ever do again. I don't know why I thought, like, covering songs is not the huge, like, breakout promotional technique that it used to be, where, you know, 10 years ago, like, you cover something and put it on YouTube and everybody's searching for the original, and then they're like, what's this? And they, you know, play your version.
Now you get to contend with a million others.
Yeah, because 2 other bands, I guess, did covers the same day also. Parallax did one, and I forget the other band. So it's like the novelty wasn't there, but I wrote a very long review of the entire album, track by track, not only about the songs, but with the chord progressions. So if you wanted to break out your guitar and sing along and you knew the chords, you could just read my transcription and play it. That was more effort than was probably warranted for the album, but I would say I liked it more than Spirit and more than like Delta Machine.
Yes. You and I should do a Depeche Mode show sometime. I feel like
sure,
there'd be a lot to...
Totally game.
Yeah, I was thinking about that because when this album, I will say, well, it's a weird album, but at the same time, a lot of the newer ones are.
Yes.
With the exception that I think Ghosts Again is the first single they've released in a long time that I actually go, you know, like if I put together a playlist of like good Depeche Mode songs.
Yeah, it made it. Yeah.
Ghosts Again is like that's a good Depeche Mode song, right? Because a lot of their more kind of newer experimental albums, sometimes even the better song on it, like, you know, when you're listening to some of the other new ones where I'm like, I guess Wrong is the best one on this album, like, you know, but it's still ultimately is like kind of a weird song that I don't think I'd necessarily throw on a Depeche Mode playlist.
Yeah.
For me, I mean, my favorite stuff is still obviously like all the shit in the 80s and Ultra, and like, I'm trying to think the 90s ones.
Ultra was that's a hot take, but I think Ultra is the best produced.
I love Ultra's awesome.
Yeah, it's so clean and it's got Home on it, and yeah, it's just, I love it. Yeah.
You know what I forgot?
Yeah.
A song that because I think we probably bond over the because I mean that's why I always thought about you, your vocals and your sort of song. They remind me of like the Martin Gore half of Depeche Mode.
Right. Yeah.
I used to always like his songs like on every album. The newer ones, not so much.
I still like it, but that's the vibrato thing I was talking about. His vibrato is really up front and a little off-putting, maybe, if I dare say. I like that it contrasts from Dave Gahan's vocals, which, you know, are obviously totally straight and baritone, whereas Martin usually takes the tenor and is super vibrato. But yeah, it's gotten a little out of control for my taste. So.
Well, there's a few songs on this one, on Memento Mori, like, so Ghosts Again is the best song.
For sure, yeah.
And then there's other ones that really strike me as like, this sounds like something that would have been on a Martin Gore solo album.
Yes, it has that Counterfeit 2 sound to it, and I actually really liked that album.
I think my favorite song on that one was just the cover of Brian Eno's song. What the fuck? Or is that even on Counterfeit 2? No, maybe
Is
it's
that the original one? I like what's the one about the river something? Dear God, let me look this up. I listened to that album. I remember when the first Counterfeit came out and Compulsion like was on K-Rock. I could not believe it. I told my best friend, I go, you don't understand. This is like a dream come true to me. I remember saying those words because the idea of Martin Gore having a solo album, right? And his were always the tracks that I liked the most, but then it turned out to be covers. Even though I didn't know any of the songs, it was
I didn't either.
Yeah.
And then the one song I liked is River, right?
Yeah, that's the one.
That's my favorite song.
Oh, I love that one. Yeah.
And it's a Brian Eno song, I think.
Okay, you're right.
Here we are, stuck by this river, you and I, underneath the sky that's ever falling down, 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 ever falling down.
You know what I have heard since then is Never Turn Your Back on Mother Earth. I watched that Sparks documentary on Netflix and realized that it's a Sparks song, but I didn't know that.
Yeah, see, I don't have like a huge encyclopedic knowledge. I wouldn't have made a good record store dork.
Same.
Because like I only know what I know. So yeah, I didn't know that was a cover. But yeah, because on Memento Mori, I feel like there was a bunch. First of all, the fact that there's even a song called Caroline's Monkey.
Yeah, no, that's just wrong on so many levels.
It's just not a Depeche Mode name for a track, you know?
Well, it's a Richard Butler name, right? Because Caroline's in Pretty in Pink. Caroline laughs and it's raining all day, right? And then I assume it's the same Carolyn now because Richard Butler was one of the writers on the songs.
Oh, okay.
So that's what in my detailed review, that's what I wrote into that. So
I've been so inundated with listening to synthwave for the past like 10 years that I don't really go back to my old playlists much of like, you know, mainstream music. And so I hadn't listened to just straightforward Depeche Mode albums in probably like 20 years. Like I listen to it every now and again, like just a song here and there, but not an album the way that I used to. Yeah. And I put on Songs of Faith and Devotion and I completely forgot about how catchy fucking One Caress.
Oh, yeah. That's on my covers album. I love that one.
And when I was listening to it, I'm just like, you know what? I bet you fucking, I bet you Brian really likes this song. Like, there's just something about, like, I like the strings.
Yeah.
I just started singing along to it because I honestly think I hadn't listened to that song in like 20 years or something.
Yeah.
It just hadn't popped up. And then the second it was there, I'm like, oh yeah, this fucking song. I used to love this song. I used to listen to it all the time just because it was just like straight strings and like his vocals.
Yeah, and that's the only one that I chose for my covers album from that album to do. You know what else I think is weird is, you know the song Rush?
Yeah.
I mean, is it just me or is it straight up about having a male orgasm? I mean,
well, probably.
It is. Like, no, I mean, it is, right? When I come up, when I rush for you. I mean, I've never analyzed it, but I mean, that's
you know what's weird? I'm not really much of a lyrics person. So when it comes to songs, the only things that really bug me is if lyrics are stupid.
Yes.
Or derivative. But honestly, if I don't understand them, I'm fine. Like Radiohead. There's so many Radiohead songs I like that if you ask me, what's he saying? I'm like, I don't know.
Yeah.
But like, I like it. And so I don't analyze things. As long as they don't stand out and are annoying. It's, what's the word? Is there a word for this where like you don't care unless there's a problem?
I don't.
So as long as everything's like just moving along fine, I'm good. But the second there's a problem, then everything just comes to like a fucking halt, you know? I'm just like, what the fuck?
If there is a word, I'd like to know it. But I will give a pass on the lyrics unless something stands out as really stupid.
Yes.
The first couple of times, but then after that, I've got to know what he's saying, especially if I'm singing along in my head and I know that I'm not singing the right words. I've got to look it up.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, my only concern is just like if a song turns out to be about something horrible, but usually like if it's like mainstream, it won't be. Like, you know, you're singing along and you find out it's some like fucking like white pride anthem or something and like, oh shit, have I been singing to this whole time? Like, but it's just so catchy.
That would be a problem. Yeah, for my wife, if something is a true story, it suddenly like goes up a level automatically for being a true story. And I'm not that way at all. Like, because you assume like most artists are talking about their life to some degree, right? So there's kind of a true story built in there. And you're right, it can be uncomfortable, but I don't know. It's so easy now with Spotify. Like you just click the thing and the lyrics pop up and there you go. So
it only affects me if I'm singing along and I feel like every time I get to a word, like it prevents me from singing along properly, then I will want to know what it is.
Yeah, you don't want to sound like an idiot.
Yeah, even if it's just to myself.
Sure.
We keep talking, but maybe we should listen to another track, and then we should probably wind down.
Yeah.
How about this? What's a track on the album that you like, that you want people to hear?
I think my favorite, although it may not be the most accessible, is The Darkness.
All right, let's do it.
Yeah.
This is the kind of like a slower paced one.
Well, yeah, I guess this is an extension of our Martin Gore solo album type thing, but I hope it's better than that. But yeah.
No, I get it. That's what I was thinking when I heard this one. So that's let's do it, man. This is The Darkness by Color Theory.
I am the night, all your grievances and pain are swallowed whole in the black of my domain. We belong outside, walking bleary-eyed through the empty streets where the monsters meet in the darkness. In the darkness, we stand alone in a world of vacant cars. Let nothing change underneath these dying stars. In the status quo of the street lamps glow, I will feast on you as the shadows do in the darkness. In the darkness. But I'm torn away by the light of day, stark and methodical in this frame. Nothing looks the same. Landmarks of my daily life glimmer with magic by night. When you get tired, there's a mattress on the floor. If you undress, I will pressure you for more. I'll lay by your side, still but satisfied, counting phantom sheep as the lonely weep in the darkness. In the darkness.
that was The Darkness by Color Theory from the new album Underneath These Dying Stars. We've been catching up with Mr. Brian Hazard. Yeah, man. Is there anything we didn't talk about that you want to talk about? Probably none of this you did want to talk about.
Yes, no, I totally plan to talk about my parents and my abuse as a medical.
I'm sorry for laughing. It's just, like when someone says something you're just not expecting, I just giggle. Yeah. And then I keep forgetting how people take that. Because I just saw someone left a comment on I love when people comment on podcasts I put out 10 years ago. Yeah. It's like, oh, this is weird or whatever. I'm just like, what? It's 10 years? What do you want me to do? It's fucking 10 years ago. Jesus Christ.
Edit that.
Yeah, I'll just cut that out for you. How about that?
So I know you don't normally talk gear and stuff, but there is something very interesting for me anyway that's not you don't have to be a gearhead to appreciate.
Did you get that Rolly keyboard with the cool song? In the ad?
No.
Doodly-doo, 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 doodly-doo.
Oh. No, but I did a couple promotions partnered with Rolly. But this album and every album all the way back to my Depeche Mode tribute in 2003, all the sounds were soft synths, right? Or piano samples or no hardware at all. And for the next album, and I've got a couple tracks done, all the sounds come from this little box called a Syntakt. It's like a little groove box that's 12 synthesizers in one, and it's a really different an interesting way to work. Like I did for this song that will probably be the first single I release early 2024 called Disappear. We were on vacation and it was so freaking hot that in the middle of the day I would just go into the lobby of the hotel and work on the music, and I got the entire instrumental thing done on vacation. And it's just such a different way to work for me, and the sound is different too. Like I'm not one of those purists that thinks hardware is better just because it's hardware, but like if you hit play and record it twice, it's going to sound different. Like it's not going to be the same thing. And like if it doesn't warm up properly, like the synths, it's weird. Like the tuning isn't right. Anyway, it's cool.
What's this thing called?
It's called a Syntakt, Syntakt. It's a box by Elektron. They have the Digitakt is the more popular box, which is like a sampler. This is essentially the same kind of thing, except it has 4 analog synth engines and 8 digital synth engines. Like it's producing all the drums, all the synths, and it's just a really fun way to work. And I think, I mentioned that the job of the artist is to cause a reaction. I think you will have a reaction, hopefully a good one, when you hear this, because it definitely sounds different, Like I like to do one album, like if we go back to Majesty of Our Broken Past, like I just kind of did that song by song, and then when I had enough songs that I thought were good enough, I released it as an album. And then Lucky Ago was a full-on concept album, right? I wrote like the whole thing at the same time in parallel. And then Underneath These Dying Stars was more, again, building up track by track, and I didn't know which direction it was going to go. And then it kind of came together. And there's 3 songs, by the way, that are on Patreon that I'm not going to release. Otherwise, they're just going to be Patreon exclusives that didn't really fit the theme. So this next one is back to more concept again, and I've got a concept in mind. So anyway, that's just kind of, I really enjoy this pattern of maybe one album that's kind of focused on just songs and making the best songs I can and worrying about how they're going to fit together later, and then going into like more of a concept album.
What made you buy the thing?
So the last probably 20 years, I wasn't interested in hardware at all. And I started watching these YouTube channels. Like there's a whole synth YouTube kind of family. Bo Beats is one of the channels. This guy, Bo, who's just this really down-to-earth guy that reviews a lot of synth stuff. And seeing the way that you work on these boxes just got me really excited about it. Like I don't need the portability. I'm at home anyway. I don't really like traveling that much. So like if you can imagine this, it's like a little lunchbox, right? And it's got 16 keys, 2 rows of 8. And you can play those little keys like a keyboard, but they're not even touch sensitive. But what's cool about it is, let's say I lay down some notes, right? I can go to the individual, they're called trigs instead of notes. So each trig, and I can say, okay, I want this note to be panned over here, and I want this note to even be a totally different instrument. Like I could have a flute sound and make the fourth note be like some weird drum sound. That sounds random, and it is, but that's the way, like it's just a totally different way of working. And I'm not poking anything out on a piano keyboard. And that's been my whole life, has been the piano and understanding music through that kind of visual model,
right?
And taking that away from me and now having to kind of work blind.
Well, this is weird, eh? It looks like a calculator / MIDI sequencer or something.
Yes, it does not look like a synthesizer of all things, much less 12 synthesizers, which is what it is.
Now, can you connect a MIDI keyboard to it?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, it has MIDI in and out, so I could just hook up a keyboard and play it normal, but the fact that I can't forces me it just gets weirder ideas out of me that I would not have thought of. And I mean, part of it is making mistakes as I kind of like, I really want to master this instrument. It's just it's a completely different way of working. And like, I think the coolest part of the song Disappear actually came about completely by accident, because I pulled up like the wrong sound or something, or turned some knob when I shouldn't have. And then it sounded really cool. And then I'm like, I'll go with that, you know?
Yeah.
There's a lot of stuff like that. And what's neat too is like, so let's say I want to get it into Ableton. You connect a USB cable, and there's something called Overbridge that you pull in all the tracks like at once over USB. So it's easy to get into your working environment, because I'm still going to mix it in Ableton. Like, I don't want to just take the output straight to the box and say, oh, okay, there's my album.
I mean, certainly this thing doesn't have 4 modifiers to quickly trigger parameter settings, does it?
It actually does.
Okay, but I mean, you know, a box like this couldn't possibly have a 64-step Elektron sequencer, right? I mean...
Amazingly, somehow they did that. Yeah.
Son of a bitch.
Yeah, that's the thing, is the Elektron sequencer, that apparently is all the hype right there. For a lot of people, it's not about the sounds or anything like that. It's about the workflow, and something about the Elektron. The sequencer is magical, I guess. I wouldn't go that far yet because I'm not that good at it. But like I said, it takes me away from the visual model of a keyboard and forces me to do things in a weird way and to come up with some odd ideas. Like, here's another one. Like, let's say I create this cool drum groove, right? I can make each hit, again, it's called a trig, have a probability. So let's say I've got a 16th note hi-hat pattern, and I set some of the notes to come in only 50% of the time. Then every time I play it back, I'm going to get a different result. Or you can set it so that if you hold down the fill button, like, you get different results. So if you got a groove and then you program it special just for the fills, like, a lot of people perform on these, and I don't perform, but there are a lot of performance features built in, so you can kind of perform your song into Ableton, if that makes sense. And again, it's going to be different every time. I could even I'm not going to do this because it takes too long, but at one point in my career, I did this thing called the individual edition CD, where the music I was making had random elements. And so if somebody bought the CD, it was $100. I would render down unique versions of each of the songs for them that were not like anybody else's. So that would be super easy on this box, just by assigning probabilities to different trigs. You know, you get a different result every time. I think it's kind of cool.
It's sort of like a randomized arpeggio, right? You know?
Yeah, and maybe not ironically, there's no arpeggiator on this thing, which is an odd omission, I guess, but
that's my favorite thing.
Yeah, it gets you working in a different way.
So the whole point is, you wanted a new muse, you wanted a new tool to sort of spark some excitement in your life, and you said, I'm going to go to elektron.se and purchase a thing that's outside of my price range. I'm just seeing this in Canadian dollars.
It was a little under 1,000, but actually they hold their value pretty well, so I wouldn't even advise. I bought one used actually from eBay, and it took me a long time to realize that one of the LEDs was broken. It's like an LED that can show a bunch of different colors, like you've seen those. So the numbers light up red or green or purple or yellow, and it took me a long time to figure it out, but one of the LEDs, the colors was missing.
Oh.
So I had to go through all this process with eBay. Like, the guy wouldn't respond to my messages or my return requests. Anyway, I'm just buying new from now on, because that was just such a hassle, and I almost gave up. But I bought it from a company called Perfect Circuit out here in Pasadena.
Oh, nice.
Pretty cool. Yeah. And I don't have an affiliate link, but that's a company that a lot of those synth YouTubers promote and do they sponsor a lot of videos. So anyway, that is way off on a tangent there.
That's cool. No, it's nice to know what's exciting people, because a lot of time people just go like, what's exciting you? And it's like, I just got a Serum preset bundle or something, right? So it's cool when you get a cool box with some knobs.
Yeah, I mean, it's the kind of thing where, even though, like, say you don't have the musical vocabulary to do maybe what you want, but you could probably come in and make some good beat-oriented music, maybe with simple bass lines on that without any musical training. Then if you're going to add synths on top of that, then of course you got to understand all the chord progressions and harmony and stuff. But
I've been sent a lot of music from people that I don't think understand those things.
I think you're right. Yeah.
Well, listen, man, it's time to go. I wanted to have a quick catch up with you.
Too long. Oh, sorry. You can edit it down.
Yeah, that's true. I'll edit this down to just like 1 minute. It'll just be like, my parents gave me pills, and then like that's going to be the whole thing.
And then call Child Protective Services.
Yeah.
No.
Well, it's too late now, right? Can you do that for 30-year-old?
Retroactively collect? If they had any money, it'd be worth it. But I actually spend a lot of time now caring for both of my parents. They're divorced, and they both have. My dad has now advanced Alzheimer's, and my mom's having memory stuff and broke her shoulder a couple weeks ago. Anyway, to end this on a light note.
Yeah.
So they're not going to listen to this and feel any remorse.
Well, I guess their insane vitamin shit prepared them for being old people who have to take lots of pills all the time.
You know what? Yes, that. I went to see the neurologist with my mom yesterday, and she asked me if my mom was averse to taking vitamins. I'm like, whatever you want her to take, she already takes, an order of magnitude more of whatever substance. So you're good. Just think of all the money. Like if my dad had no money for retirement, if we just took that vitamin money, bought like a Central multivitamin instead, and invested it in a 401k, like, he'd be in the best memory suite at the best assisted living in the country.
Yeah, but hindsight, right?
Yeah.
Hindsight is 20/20. There's a lot of things I'd like to go back and do better, but it's too late. One thing is, when I moved away from home, I would go to my young self and be like, dude, you can't just keep eating these fucking burgers covered with like mayo and cheese every day.
No.
You're going to get a belly and you're too lazy to work it off. And now 30 years later or whatever.
I hope you're checking your cholesterol. Yeah.
Well, everything's okay. Like, I think I'm relatively healthy, so that's, it's lame, right? I should just, now I'm continuing a conversation we were having before we hit record.
Yeah, sorry. I'm going to
We were talking about dieting, and I decided I'm not going to hit record on this, but I hit record on all of this, so
yeah.
What does that tell you about my judgment?
Yeah, I guess I'll let it go and not bring that back up again.
Anyways, listen, people should go check out Underneath These Dying Stars. It's always fun to catch up with Color Theory. There's lots of music there if you dig what you're listening to, and Brian makes cool music and very interesting stuff.
Yay. Well, thank you for having me back. It's always fun, and I like how we're to the point where every topic that comes up, you're like, have we talked about this before? So it's a good place to be. And maybe we have, maybe we haven't. I don't know.
Well, listen, you have fun with your fucking Elektron Syntakt.
I will.
I look forward to seeing what you come up with.
Perfect.
With my eyes.
Well, you'll like the cover art, I'm sure.
All right, take care, dude.
All right, see ya.
All right, and that was my catch-up with Color Theory. I hope you enjoyed that. And now I'm off to start recording conversations with Beyond Synth listeners and patrons. And I'm going to start airing those as soon as possible. So hope you enjoyed the show. Tune in next time to Beyond Synth, the best synthwave chat show there is. And we got lots of music to listen to and lots of people to talk to. So it's going to be a lot of fun. So keep being cool. If you like the show, consider supporting it on patreon.com/BeyondSynth. And I hope you have a lovely day and a lovely weekend and a lovely week. And that's all I have to say. So tune in next time to Beyond Synth.
Beyond Synth Radio is produced by Andy Last. Check the show notes for more information on the musicians featured on the show. Beyond Synth is made possible by listeners like you. Consider supporting Beyond Synth at patreon.com/BeyondSynth. Thanks for listening.